My ex-wife left me for my ex and immediately got pregnant. But it turned out the baby was mine. I wish I could tell you there was a dramatic build-up, some slow-motion car crash of a marriage, but really, my ex-wife just woke up one morning, looked at me over burnt toast, and said, "I think I'm still in love with Nathan." Nathan, my ex? Not just my ex-best friend, no, that would have been too merciful. He was my ex-everything, ex-roommate, ex-business partner, ex-wingman, ex-reason I don't trust men who wear loafers without socks. He and I had a history carved out of cheap beer and bad decisions, and she'd known that. Hell, she'd helped me pack the boxes when he bailed on our shared lease and left me with 3 months of rent. So when she said it, I just stared at her like she'd told me she was taking up competitive knife juggling. "You're leaving me for Nathan?" I asked. She shrugged, all casual, like she was deciding between oat milk and almond milk. I didn't plan it. We just reconnected. Reconnected, like Wi-Fi. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't even throw the "of course it was you" coffee mug I'd bought her for Christmas. I just let her pack her suitcase while she rambled about not wanting to hurt me, which is exactly what people say right before they do the most surgical emotional damage imaginable. By the time she left, the apartment was too quiet. I sat on the couch for a long time, staring at the dent she'd left in the cushion, trying to remember when things started slipping. Could have been last year. Could have been the first week. Hard to tell with hindsight, whipping you across the face like a wet towel. 2 weeks later, I kid you not, she calls. Her voice is breathless, excited. "I'm pregnant." I congratulated her, because I'm an idiot who was raised to be polite, even while bleeding internally. She told me it just happened, which made me think of that meme about tripping and falling onto someone repeatedly. But then, and this is where the universe really said plot twist, a month after that, she calls again. This time, she's crying. It's not his. And just like that, my quiet little heartbreak cracked open and started muttering, "Oh, this is gonna get messy." I didn't say anything at first. I just held the phone to my ear and listened to her breathe like she was trying to inhale an answer. Finally, I went with the classic, "What do you mean it's not his?" Very measured, very adult, very opposite of the man pacing in circles in his living room, wearing socks with absolutely no traction. She sniffled. "The timeline doesn't work. The doctor said I conceived earlier than I thought." Earlier, as in still married earlier. I sat down on the arm of the couch because the actual cushion suddenly felt too dramatic. "So, you're telling me the baby's mine?" A tiny, hiccuping yes. Here's the strange thing no one tells you. When someone detonates your life twice in the span of a month, the second explosion doesn't hit the same. It's like your nervous system had already filed a complaint and stepped out for a cigarette break. All I felt was this weird, floaty numbness, like my emotions were buffering. She kept talking. Something about guilt, about wanting to be honest, about Nathan being supportive but confused, which was rich considering the man's greatest life achievement up to this point was organizing his sock drawer by emotional tone. I should have yelled. Should have told her I needed space, time, therapy, divine intervention, something. Instead, I asked the dumbest question a man could ask in that moment. "So, what do you want from me?" She didn't answer right away. I could practically hear her sorting through all the options, like a kid picking the least burnt marshmallow from the bag. "I don't know," she finally said. "Maybe to talk, to figure things out. Together. Together. Amazing how one word can feel like a punch. After we hung up, I just sat there. No TV, no music, just the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my life rearranging itself without my permission. I wasn't angry yet. That would come later. But I did feel something stirring in me. Not hope, not dread. Something stranger. Like the universe had just set up a chessboard and handed me a piece I didn't ask for. And said, "Your move." I didn't sleep that night. Didn't even try. I just lay there staring at the ceiling like it owed me answers. Around 3 a.m., I drove to the all-night grocery store because, apparently, my coping mechanism is buying frozen waffles and staring at people who definitely have their own disasters going on. By noon the next day, I'd talked myself into meeting her. Not because I wanted to. Trust me, the last place I wanted to be was within emotional blast radius, but because avoiding it felt like letting the narrative happen to me instead of with me. We met at this little coffee shop she used to love. The place smelled like burnt espresso and wet wood, and the barista looked like he hated everyone on principle. It was familiar in that comforting, mildly depressing way. She walked in, wearing this oversized sweater I'd forgotten I bought her. Funny how the small things hit harder than the big ones. She sat. I sat. We didn't talk for a minute. Just kind of stared at our mugs like the answers were floating around in the foam. Then she hit me with it. "I don't expect anything from you. I don't know what the right thing is." Translation, she wanted me to choose so she wouldn't have to. I asked her about Nathan, how he was handling this sudden paternity plot twist. She didn't meet my eyes. He said he needs space. Space. The same thing she'd taken from me without asking. I nodded, because I didn't trust myself to speak. She took that as encouragement and kept going. "I'm not asking you to take me back. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you. I don't want to go through this alone." There it was, the real ask. Not love, not reconciliation, just company on the sinking ship. A younger version of me, the one who always tried to fix things, smooth things over, be the dependable one, he almost stood up inside my chest. But then the present me, the one who'd spent nights replaying every moment she'd checked out of our marriage, told him to sit his ass back down. "I'll be involved with the baby," I finally said. "But you and I, that chapter's closed." Her face crumpled, and for a second I felt that old instinct, the reach across the table and comfort reflex. But I didn't move, couldn't. And here's the twist. She didn't argue. She didn't bargain. She didn't say she understood. She said something way worse. "I think I made a mistake leaving you." It hit me like someone whispered it straight into my spine, but I held the line. For once. You ever have one of those moments where the world goes unnervingly quiet? Like someone hit mute on reality. That's what happened when she said it. "I think I made a mistake leaving you." Funny thing is, if she'd said those exact words a month earlier, I probably would have thrown myself into fixing us like an idiot with a roll of duct tape and too much optimism. But sitting across from her now, sweater I bought her, hair pulled back the way she knew I liked, eyes all soft with regret. It didn't hit the way she expected. It didn't crack me open. It didn't heal anything either. It just fell flat, like someone knocking on a door that's already been bricked over. I took a slow breath. "You didn't make a mistake," I said. "You made a choice." That landed. She blinked once, twice, like she wasn't used to me having a backbone. To be fair, I wasn't used to it either. "So that's it?" she whispered. "No," I said, and for a second she brightened, which honestly hurt more than anything. "The baby is mine. That's not nothing. I'll step up for that. But us? The relationship? That's done." And there it was. Not cruel, not angry, just a truth I'd finally stopped running from. She nodded like someone accepting a fate they didn't agree to. Then she said something that almost made me choke on my cold coffee. "Nathan keeps asking if I cheated on him. With you?" I had to blink. A full cartoon-style double-take. "With me?" I said. "While we were married?" She winced. "He's paranoid. He thinks I left you for him too fast." I had to laugh, a dry, humorless bark that startled the barista. "Yeah, well," I said, "timelines are contagious, I guess." She didn't laugh, not even a pity smile. "I didn't want this to happen," she murmured. I shrugged. Nobody ever does. But here we are. The conversation fizzled out after that. We talked logistics, doctors, appointments, finances, like two co-workers planning a project neither of us volunteered for. When we finally stood, she hesitated. "Can I hug you?" I looked at her for a long, long second. "I don't think that's a good idea." And I walked away first. Not dramatically, not angrily, just done. But as I drove home, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Nathan. We need to talk." And suddenly the quiet inside me wasn't quiet anymore. I stared at the text like it was a rattlesnake trying to look polite. Nathan hadn't reached out to me in years. Not since he bailed on our lease, left me holding the financial grenade, then pretended it was some kind of character-building exercise for both of us. So seeing his name on my screen now? Yeah, universe has a sense of humor. I typed nothing, deleted nothing, just shoved the phone in my pocket and tried to pretend my pulse wasn't thudding against my ribs like it owed me rent. An hour later, he called, not texted, called, which meant he wasn't trying to be civil. He wanted something. I answered because morbid curiosity is apparently one of my personality traits now. "Yeah?" I said, as if I hadn't just sprinted across the apartment to grab the phone. "You knew," he said immediately. No hello, no warm-up, no human decency. "You knew the kid might be yours, and you didn't tell me." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Buddy, I found out 24 hours ago." He scoffed. "Convenient." "Oh, absolutely," I said. "I schedule my emotional disasters like dentist appointments." A beat of silence, then softer, "She's freaking out. Keeps saying she ruined everything." "Yeah," I said. "She tends to do that." He ignored the jab. "So what do you want to do?" "About what?" "The baby," he snapped. "The situation. Us. Us. Like we were still a duo, like this was some group project I'd accidentally skipped a meeting for." "I don't think there is an us," I said. "You made sure of that years ago." He sighed, the overly dramatic kind, meant to signal suffering. "Look, man, I'm trying here. She left you for me. Then she found out she was pregnant. We both look like idiots." "Well," I said, "only one of us deserves a medal for consistency." He didn't appreciate my humor. Shocking. "What are you going to do?" he asked again. "I'm going to be a dad," I said. Simple, clear, heavy as a bowling ball dropped on my chest. "I'm not going to play tug-of-war with you about a situation your actions helped create." Another long pause. Then he said something I didn't expect. "I still want her, even if the baby's not mine." It hit me sideways. Not because he loved her, I never believed that, but because the desperation in his voice was real, raw, pathetic in that very human way. She's not a prize. Nathan, I know, he said, quiet, small, but I don't want to lose her. For a moment, one tiny microscopic moment, I felt a sliver of pity for him. Not enough to soften me, but enough to remind me we were all just flailing idiots trying to pretend we were in control. I'm not taking her back, I said, so relax. He let out a shaky breath. And the kid? I'll handle my end, I said. But her and I, that's done. He mumbled something like, good, but it sounded more like a man drowning while trying to look like he's casually treading water. When the call ended, I let the silence settle around me, and that's when it hit me. For the first time since she left, I wasn't the one with the messy life. They were, and I was starting, just barely, to feel the ground under my feet again. The weirdest part came after everything settled. Not legally settled, not emotionally settled, but that calmer after a storm kind of settled, where the debris is still everywhere, but at least it's not flying at your face anymore. People talk about closure like it's this neat, zipped-up thing. Nah. Mine arrived in pieces like IKEA furniture without the instructions. The first piece came at the ultrasound. She asked me to go with her. Not romantically, not hopefully. More like she was scared and thought I'd be the closest thing to solid ground. I almost said no. But responsibility has a way of grabbing you by the collar and dragging you upright. Sitting in that dim, humming exam room, watching a grainy little gummy bear-shaped creature flicker on the screen, it did something to me. Not a lightning bolt, but a shift, a small steadying click inside my chest. The tech pointed out the heartbeat, and I swear for a moment the whole world went quiet, in the good way. Afterward, she cried in the car, silent, shoulder-shaking tears, guilt, regret, fear. The cocktail no one orders, but everyone drinks eventually. I didn't touch her, didn't comfort her, didn't owe her that anymore. But I did say, we're going to be okay. Not together, but okay. She nodded like someone hearing a foreign language she almost understood. The second piece of closure came a week later. When Nathan texted me, we broke up. Just that. No explanation, no complaint, no accusation. I didn't reply. Whatever fallout he and my ex-wife were dealing with, that was their weather to stand in, not mine. I'd spent enough years catching other people's storms with my bare hands. And then came the final piece, the unexpected one. I was grabbing groceries when I bumped into someone. Literally ran my cart into hers. She laughed. I apologized. She made a joke about me being a danger to produce. And something in me uncoiled. Just a little. We talked, exchanged numbers. Nothing dramatic, nothing forced. Just easy. The way breathing is easy when you're not trying to impress the air. We went on a date the next week, then another. She didn't know my history yet, and for the first time in a long time, I liked being a blank page for someone instead of a walking plot twist. When I finally told her I had a baby on the way with my ex-wife, she didn't flinch, just nodded and said, "Life's messy, doesn't mean it's broken." And damn if that didn't stick to my ribs. Now, my ex-wife and I are civil, co-parenting like two adults who survived our own bad decisions. Nathan is a ghost, fittingly, and the woman I crashed my grocery cart into, she's still here, still easy, still choosing me without needing me to bleed for it. I used to think getting left shattered something in me, but the truth is, it cracked something open, made space for honesty, for clarity, for a kid who didn't ask for any of this but deserves the best of me. And for someone who doesn't want the version of me who gets walked on, she wants the version who finally learned to stand up. So yeah, my ex-wife left me for my ex. She got pregnant. It wasn't his. And somehow, in the fallout of all that chaos, I found the one thing I hadn't had in years, a life that was actually mine again.